Did you know that you can make your own makeup? Hi, I'm Katie from Simply Earth, and I love teaching people how to make things using natural ingredients. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to make your own DIY natural foundation. We'll make a pressed powder version that you can easily use as a loose powder, or even switch it up a little bit to be more of a cream-based foundation. To make your own makeup, you're going to need Simply Earth's DIY Mineral Makeup Base. This is going to allow even color on your skin. It's going to make the makeup feel nice and help it last longer and stay on your skin. Along with your makeup base, you'll need pigment, and this pigment is going to color our makeup base so that it matches your skin tone. You'll be able to customize this to match your skin perfectly. Brown iron oxide, black iron oxide, yellow iron oxide, and red iron oxide. You'll blend these colors together to create your natural skin tone. And to match your skin tones, you can use blue ultramarine pigment powder and green chromium oxide. To blend your pigments together, you are going to either need a pestle and mortar like this one. Stainless steel is nice because it cleans up easily, or a coffee grinder. And if you use a coffee grinder, you're going to want to keep this coffee grinder to only be used with your DIY projects. You won't want to use it with coffee again. We're also going to need mini measuring spoons. So mini measuring spoons are small measuring spoons that include things like a pinch, a tad, and a drop. Regular measuring spoons. And to help clean up your pigments at the end, you'll want some rice to throw in your coffee grinder or pestle and mortar to clean it up easily. Let's get started. The first thing you need to do is pick out the shade of foundation you want to create. I have created 6 different shades. None of these will likely match your skin tone perfectly, but you'll be able to adjust the recipe to do that. So I've labeled each of these as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for our foundation colors. Pick whichever one you think is closest to your skin. I'm going to start with foundation level 2 because that's more similar to my skin color, and then I'll show you how I'm going to customize it for my skin color and give you tips for other skin colors as well. So while I'm going to show you how to make shade number 2 in this video, you'll see recipes for the different shades below in our cheat sheet, and you'll be able to use the exact same thing I'm doing in this recipe to create those other shades. To make this shade, I actually only need these 3 pigment powders, red, blue, and yellow. For other shades, you will use brown or black and that green ultramarine color. To make our foundation, we're going to start with 2 teaspoons of this mineral base. This is a fine powder, so be mindful as you open it. Some powder may come into the air, so try not to breathe that in. So I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of our DIY mineral makeup powder. With my mini measuring spoons, I'm going to find 1/64 of a teaspoon, and I'm going to add 4 of those. I'm going to add 1/64 of a teaspoon red iron oxide. And 1 more of blue ultramarine pigment powder. I'm going to close my coffee grinder and grind it for about 30 seconds, off and on. Until I get one even shade, and you'll want to knock it around a bit. And then I'm going to let the powder settle a bit. So this is a fine powder, and if I open this up right now, it's going to be all in the air. So I'm going to let that calm down a bit before I open it. So I'm going to open this, I'm going to let that settle, and I'm going to pour it into a bowl, and I'm going to test it to see how well it matches my skin tone. You could just keep it right in the container, but I want you to be able to see it. So I'm pouring it into a bowl, and now the best way to test it is to test it right on your face. A lot of times you'll see people testing makeup on your arm, but the skin on your arm might not be the same color as the skin on your face, so you'll want to test it where you'll wear it. So I'm going to apply this to my face. I've got a mirror so I can see. And I'm getting some of that excess powder off. Now I'm gonna try it and see how it looks. All right, so that's not bad, but it's probably a little too bright or white for my skin. And so I am going to adjust it. Here are the adjustments you'll make to your makeup to get it the right color that you need. If the color is too dark, you'll add more of this white DIY mineral makeup base to make it more light. If it's too light, you can add a very small amount of black iron oxide. If it feels like it's too pink, you can balance it out by adding a little bit of green chromium oxide. If you feel like the makeup looks too orange on you, you can add a little bit of blue ultramarine powder. If you feel like the undertone of the makeup is too cool, add some yellow iron oxide. Or if you feel like the undertone is too warm, you can add some red iron oxide to it to help balance out the foundation. So since this right now, when I just try it on my face, it just feels a little too light, I'm gonna add the smallest amount possible of black iron oxide, and I'm gonna write that down on my recipe cheat sheet so I can make this exact color again. So just a little bit of pigment can make a big impact with what color this foundation turns. So I've got my smallest increment on my measuring spoon. If you have a precise cosmetic scale, you can use that instead for an even more precise measurement. And I've got my 1/64 measurement, and I'm going to fill that half full, just because I think I just need a tiny bit to get it to where I want. Now I'm gonna blend it up again in my coffee grinder. I'll let that settle, and then I will again test it on my face to see if I think it's the right color. All right, so I'm gonna just dip my brush right into our base here and try it out, see how it looks. So this is where I tested it last. It looks really good. And that's still maybe a touch too light. And I also feel like it's slightly too cool. So I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow to it as well. So again, I'm gonna add just a small amount of black iron oxide. I'm going to use a half 64th teaspoon. And then I just wipe this out with a paper towel before I add my next color. And I'm here going to go just a half of a 64th of a teaspoon. And now we blend. Let that settle briefly, and then we'll test it. Let's test it out. And I really like how that's taking out some of the red in my skin. I have a lot of red in my skin naturally. And that's covering that up super well. So I think this color is really close to what I'm looking for, if not what I need. So I'm gonna stick with this as my color. So just a couple more steps. I can use it as is, as a loose powder, but I prefer a pressed powder. So to do that, I'm gonna empty my powder into a bowl, and I'm gonna add just a small amount of almond oil. Jojoba oil also works really well for this. I'm going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of almond oil and stir it in. And what I'm looking for is a crumbly consistency, kind of like if you bake, you make an apple crumble, and the crumble that goes on top. I'm gonna keep adding almond oil at small increments until I reach that crumbly consistency, and then I'll be able to push it into the tin. I'm gonna add some more almond oil and stir, and keep going until I reach that consistency. Once you have a consistency like this, which is like a lot of little crumbs, then you can pour it into your tin. And I've got the Simply Earth rectangular tin right here that I'm going to use. And this fits inside our compact, which is a handy way to bring your makeup on the go. Now I need something to press this into the container. You can use the edge of the spoon or something small and flat to push it in, and so you get one flat surface. So when you're done, it'll look something like this once you've pushed it into the tin. This one is a loose powder, so you can compare the two. And now to use it, I can apply a little bit to my brush, Tap off any excess and apply. So to clean up can be a little bit trickier with pigment because the reason we use it for makeup is because it adheres well to our skin. It will also adhere well to other surfaces. So to clean out your coffee grinder or pestle and mortar, depending on what you're doing, a really easy way to do that is to add rice. Because the powder will want to stick to the rice. And will come right out of your container. And it's already much cleaner. If you get any on your work surface, using a multi-purpose cleaner spray and then wiping it away will likely work, or some rubbing alcohol will help take that off. And that's how you make your own makeup. It's gonna be so fun teaching you how to make your own makeup like foundation, blush, eyeshadow, lipstick, and other makeup products using natural ingredients, including these and mica powder and almond oil and other ingredients that are amazing for your skin. You will love ditching toxic makeup products for your own natural ones that you can create yourself that match you and your personality.